Hello, Taurus friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Taurus August 2023 Astrology Horoscope forecast. This is for you if Taurus is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement of Taurus that you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're very late degree Taurus friends, so birthdays like May 15th through the rest of the sign, or if you've got 23-degree placement of Taurus through the rest of the sign, then I suggest you additionally listen to my Gemini reports. Since for you very late degree friends, the Taurus and Gemini reports will each have pieces for you for this time. I'm calling the theme of this month Pure Starry Magic for Taurus in August, and I will get into all of the details as to why. So it's very exciting. I know that Taurus people have been going through it since the end of 2021 with these crazy eclipses changing your trajectory, crazy goodbyes and new hellos and just topsy-turvy upheavals. April, May into June might have been very stressful for you. July and August brings us into a break from the eclipse season. Not that there still won't or can't be changes or information coming in, but it's more of a time of getting your new normal from the changes that recently occurred and kind of prepping for the final chapters of the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle, which are coming in October, and you'll start really feeling that even in September, possibly even the very end of August. So, this is a little break in between integration to integrate in between these change cycles for you. We've got more salty aspects this month, salty meaning where the planets aren't getting along, than we do sweet ones, but the sweet ones count big time because a lot of them are Earth trines and you are an Earth placement. So these are going to light up even brighter for you. We will go into those details, but for right now, I just wanted to mention that these road bumps from these very kind of nuisance aspects, they're just easy, fast ones that pass pretty quickly. Unless you have something bigger going on in your chart, pretty much the challenging activity this month are just quick nuisance aspects. So just imagine you're on a road with speed bumps and you get jostled, especially if you're not expecting them, but now you can expect them so you can go more slowly and not be as jostled as these road bumps come up this month, and you can have more presence of mind to savor the good stuff, and there is a lot of that. So you've been going through a lot of me, we, my stuff, your stuff, our stuff storylines, and that will continue through the transits that are happening now. With the Venus retrograde, we also have Mercury retrograde, so this is just kind of a time for those type of storylines, but hopefully the intensity won't be like the eclipse season and you'll get a little break. Okay, so to really understand the bigger astrological picture of a period of time, the first thing we have to know is that astrological transits do not cooperate with monthly horoscopes in the way that they don't fit neatly into 1 month. So a lot of the things I might be talking about for you for August will have started before August and will last after August. So we're just my goal is to look at the layers that are happening at this time to give you the pieces of the picture so you can better understand, the individual layers and then the bigger story. The first layer that I want to talk about has to do with Virgo transits. Okay, so Virgo transits are fellow Earth, Earth sign transits. As such, they make a 120-degree angle with your Taurus placements, which is the most favorable angle in all of astrology, called the trine. And so we have quite a lot of that. So not only do we have Mars there, Mars is like, I call it the border collie of the zodiac, brings a lot of intense focus, ambition, inspiration, motivation, productivity, oomph, vigor. We also have Pallas Athena, who can bring brilliant strategies, awesome industry, creative solutions that can also be peaceful. Okay, so she's the more level-headed sister of war god Eris, and although she can hold her own as a warrior, she will often find ways to avoid war, if possible. And come to, an agreeable and amenable end for everybody. So there's this beautiful energy in Virgo of awesome strategies that you can use to improve every area of your life peacefully. All right. So then we've got Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So when we've got a retrograde transit, we've got the connection of making this trine as Mercury moves forward. Then as it goes retrograde, it makes those trines a second time. Then as it moves back forward, it makes those trines again. So we've got triple trine action for Mercury, especially for those between 8 and 21 degrees or close to there. Okay, that's a good bit of the it's more than a third of you will have actual 3 kisses from Mercury retrograde. And if you're not in that, don't feel sad, because you're still going to get all of these goodies as potentials. So nobody's being left out of this. So just to be clear, the 8 degrees through 21, and really we should extend that because, a few degrees in each direction. If we'll put it down to like 5 or 6 degrees up to like 23 degrees. So that's talking about like April 27th through like May 14th or 15th. All of you will be getting this triple trine action. And again, if you're right at the beginning or right at the end, don't despair. This is just one extra layer of goodies that those of you with those placements can get this month. But this is a month full of opportunity for all Taurus placements. So nobody's being left out. Okay, so what can these things bring? Blessings from the past, motivation and inspiration from the past, connections from the past. Mercury does this. Venus is doing this. Venus, of course, is your ruler. Venus, your ruler in retrograde. That's super relevant. We'll get to that. But for right now, one of the layers we're going to talk about is Virgo. So that has to do with discipline, focus, service, self-esteem, confidence. So self-esteem from doing the things that are necessary, like practical applications, and motivation to get tedious things done, tedious but necessary things done. Okay, so you've got all of that going on, and the chance for really wonderful outcomes are magnified because of the trines. So let's talk a little bit more about the trines. August 1st, August 16th, and August 24th, we've got Mars trines. On the 1st, Mars will trine Jupiter, bringing expansion, action and expansion, or action leading to expansion. This days around the 16th, we've got Mars connecting with Uranus, the planet of surprises, things that come out of the blue. So surprise support, exciting outcomes. August 24th, Mars in that beautiful, most fabulous aspect in all of astrology, the trine with Pluto, bringing transformation, regeneration, revitalization. So all of this is in a tangible, material way, because these are the practical earth energies. So these are not the ethereal or emotional or, world of ideas. These are like straight up tangible things, which is very exciting. We also have a trine with Mercury, an earth trine on August 10th. So really throughout the whole month, there's just and that same trine will happen twice more, like I said, when the retrograde and then the direct. So this is just a beautiful time to really focus on your first house, your physical body, your view of yourself, other people's view of you, your vitality, your health, your wellness. And those storylines are corroborated by Venus moving through Taurus, okay? So not only are these Virgo placements kicking back to your first house cusp in this solar chart that we're looking at, ruling the first house, your image, your view point of the world, your glasses that you put on to see the world. It's what I always call your rising sign. It's like the glasses you put on in the morning and you see everything through that lens. So not only are those things going on, but Jupiter from May 2023 to May 2024 is moving through your sign. So this is something else on my list of, the pure starry magic occurring. Jupiter gives you a chance every 12 years to just completely reshape and redo your whole world and set a new foundation for the next 12 years and plant seeds. And you can even grow things that grew in the last 12 years further, take them to their next level. So this is, really exciting, and it can help offset some of the instability that Uranus might have been bringing, moving through your sign for so long, or maybe some of the lessons that you learned or experiences that you have had over the years can really expand your sense of self. If you're trying to increase your physical stamina or your muscles, or if you're trying to gain weight, I know that sounds silly to a lot of people because many people struggle to lose weight, but there are actually people that do struggle with gaining weight. Jupiter can help you and can help you build muscle mass. If you are struggling to keep weight off, Jupiter can show you the ways that you have triggers that are caught, or medical issues, underlying medical issues that are interfering with you being at your most healthy weight. So there's a lot of focus on the physical body here. So the shadow period for Mercury retrograde starts August 4th. The actual retrograde is August 23rd through September 14th, and that shadow period afterward lasts until September 30th. So essentially August and September are covered in retrograde energy, which means blessings from the past, mischief from the past, focus on the past, not being able to plan that far ahead, and plans in the present and future being called into question, not being able to see more than a step or so ahead, brings everything right back down to this moment. In this crazy world where we get so scattered with everything, the universe provides a balancing point in the form of retrogrades, where everything we might have been putting towards the future or thinking ahead, we sort of have to come right down to what's in front of us right at this moment. Some of the things we see might be disconcerting and have to be dealt with. Some of them just might be awesome, where we can appreciate the fruits of our labors. Word of guidance for August and September is the more you try to schedule, the more you're going to be on the phone rescheduling the things you scheduled. The more you commit to being somewhere or doing something in August or September, the more you're going to have to cancel things or feel bad because you're not following through with your commitment, because things may happen out of your control that changes things. So best guidance here, go out of your way to put things in pencil. When someone else commits to something, know in the back of your mind, or you can even straight up say it, look, we know this might change. Let's just do it tentatively. And if you commit to other people in pencil and say, I can't say 100%, then when that time comes, if you have to change it, you'll save face and it'll be less stressful for you. These are ways to navigate around the retrograde. Now, something else to know about Mercury retrograde, and this is not something that's talked about as often, is that there are actually a lot of really good things to do during retrogrades. And this is important to think about this month since we have both Venus and Mercury retrograde. All right, so you hear about a lot of things not to do, right? And I try to give you just as many, if not more things to do so that you can align your efforts with the planetary rhythms. So I always like to use this analogy of, the tide coming in. So if you just kind of imagine you're on a beach, the retrograde time, you're sitting on the shore, and things that you've worked on in the past can bring things to you, blessings from the things that you're just kind of sitting there, right? You're not actively creating. You're not trying to put your boat afloat. Everything's going to come right back to you. So you're just there, present with what is coming up. Maybe some garbage will float up. You have to deal with it. Maybe something that you had considered in the past will come back for you to reconsider. But either way, this is the spider mode where you've already woven your webs and now you're hanging out, waiting to see what food comes to you. It's not a time for actively conjuring or trying to make things happen. There are times like that in the stars. This isn't one of them. So the tides are rolling in, and on them can come beautiful things from the past, and these trines can also help support this. So I'll give you a few things that this month is good for, okay? Relaxing and being on free flow with no agenda. So it's great for vacations and staycations. If you've got a rigid vacation plan, that might be a little stressful. As we've talked about, rigid plans don't work super well at this time. And your ambitions in certain arenas might be really directed. Those trines can give you some specific ambition on certain topics, but general ambitions might wane a little bit, or you might get overzealous with certain things and then try to force them and then have them not work out. So just kind of watch the energy. This is a really great time for deep indulgence in things that are fun. Just like self-expression and fun and entertainment, and that's coming from multiple places. That's from Venus retrograde, and Mercury retrograde, and Venus in Leo, just things that are fun, basically low stakes with no deadlines and no consequence if you don't finish. So it's really great for experimenting, trying things on, where if you step away from it or lose your zest for it, it doesn't matter, just flexible things. It's amazing for reaping the rewards for past work, revising, taking calm action on unfinished business, working on future launches in the backdrop. Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde are notoriously not the best times to try to launch something big. But they are both great times to work in the backdrop or to do business as usual stuff, editing, revising, doing a promotion that you've done before that worked well, going back to customers who always showed up for you, going back to a job or a temp, position or something that worked well for you in the past. And this also works well for, design stuff. If you, and your physical body, if you had a haircut that worked for you before, this could be a time to bring it back. That could work really well. The retrograde energy is awesome for studying and learning and exploring, especially in a low stakes way or a flexible format. Okay, so let's talk more now about Venus retrograde. So Venus is going to start its pre-transit shadow period June 19th. It'll stretch to July 23rd when it officially shifts into retrograde, staying retrograde until September 4th, with the post-transit shadow period lasting until October 6th. Venus rules love, relationships, money, finances, beauty, appearance, design, aesthetics, comfort, sustenance, and Taurus, which rules a lot of those things as well, okay? So some of the aspects of Venus are shown in Venus's rulership of Libra, like the design elements and those kind of, appearance types of things. And a lot of the Venus rulership areas fall into the Taurus domain. That's a lot of the money, this relationship with comfort and sustenance. So those things are all looking to be reworked. Opportunities from the past can come up. Old troubles and patterns can come up. And since Venus is in Leo, so is Lilith, so is the sun, there's this zestiness and exuberance and just prolific creative expression that is occurring. And it can be highly, highly, highly creative. And this is all centered for Taurus around the 4th house of home and family and real estate and housing and ancestors and roots. And it is in a square. We talked about a lot of trines for this month, which is awesome. But these energies are in a square. So this is a little bit of a pressure point. So some things at home, housing, real estate, family, there might be some pressure there. Pressure doesn't have to be a bad thing, so it's nothing to fear. It could be pressure like you're getting a house ready to sell. Again, when you're selling something in Venus retrograde, you want to make sure you don't let it go for less than what it's worth. But big payouts can come in Venus retrograde. So something you've been working on for a while can come in at that point. Big purchases, especially if you know that they're not a money pit. Those are some guidelines. And look in the notes underneath this video or podcast and see all my Venus retrograde resources, because there are definitely things to know about big purchases and big decisions and stuff like that. But, this is a time where notable material things can happen. And there is a lot of it centered around home and family and houses and real estate and projects that are related to home-based businesses and things like that. And it looks like there's some pressure for Taurus. There's some work to be done. There's some polishing to be done. There could be stress around it, or it could just be a deadline, or that you're on crunch time, or that, you're really ready to just finish the project, so you're putting extra work in. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Venus retrograde, specifically in the 4th house, which is where it is for Taurus. So since Cancer is all about home and family, childhood events are likely to come up as echoes from the past, for better and worse. You could meet people or have experiences that remind you of good things from your childhood, or patterns in your current relationships can start to be very painfully, you could become very painfully aware at how it really is how you felt when you were little in a dysfunctional situation, and it's echoing now into the present. A common way I've seen this come up also, with the focus on homes and families, is a family asset that there's consideration to sell. So it's a really great time to research property values and do inspections and assessments. But if you're the one holding the property, just be aware that unless you're intuitively or otherwise seriously guided, it's not always advisable to sell unless a couple of qualifications are met. You're absolutely sure you want to sell the property. Because if you're not and you've been going back and forth, you may sell it and then regret it. Okay? If you're absolutely sure, then that won't be a problem. But if you've been back and forth, or there's a chance you could change your mind, you could, have that happen. The other thing is you have to make sure you're not selling emotionally out of desperation for money and undervaluing the house. Okay, so that's a common thing that happens is someone gets desperate, or they're not seeing the situation clearly, or they just don't know the value, like the actual value, or they see it as having less value than it really has. So if you're a buyer, like having extra cash or very secure finances, you can find many good investments at this time. But you have to make sure that you're not buying a money pit. Okay, that's a very big pitfall of Venus retrograde, is that there could be things going on that you don't know about, and then you buy it, and now you're committed to a lot of expenses. But if you get the extra inspections and you do your research, then you could try to safeguard against that. Something else to know is that a lot of people will get the urge to renovate at this time. And doing small, easy, basic repairs are completely fine and very well indicated. Like, you got to fix things that are broken or, that need attention, revamping, but doing the same color that you did, just a brighter, like a new coat. But you might get the urge to do something crazy. And a lot of times, if it's not easily reversed, that could not be very well indicated at this time. So just kind of consider that when you make these decisions, because while it's really good to spruce up things aesthetically at this time, it might not be good for those bold changes that you might regret and might be hard to fix. Lost love can also return to your home, like a lover or a spouse. If you've been separated from your partner or someone in your household, they may come back to you, or a relative. Also, retrograde, for people who are in relationships, the retrograde can return the magic back to the relationship and to the household. If there are issues in the household, they could come up to be reevaluated. Also, since this house is, rules Cancer, which is traditionally the mother, that, other people can play this type of role, so we're not limiting it, but your relationship as a mother, your relationship to your mother, your maternal relationship can all get re-questioned at this time. So I've come up with a list of nice questions you can ask yourself to proactively use these energies really well. How is my childhood affecting, limiting, or accentuating my current relationship? And how can I resolve that? Where can I apply forgiveness for the sake of my own health and happiness and for the sake of others? This is from the rulership of psychology for this, inner work for this fourth house. Does a family member need me? How can I have a healthy relationship and find balance while giving help? Do I need help from a family member or a member of my household? How can I be fair and balanced with what other people need while honoring myself and the other person? How can I create more coherence in my home space? How can I earn money from past investments, especially involving home-based business or homes or housing or family money? I give you a bunch of dates that I love. I'm going to give you one to watch out for. The days around August 22nd, Mars is going to oppose Neptune. So just kind of look out for not being sure of clarity or purpose, some dings to self-esteem or certainty, breaches in security, deception. These will pass, pretty quickly, but it's just something to be aware of. If you find a cloud of confusion, even beyond what the retrograde can bring, it might be from this aspect. And if you really like these dates, like the ones to be awareful and careful of and the ones that I love and my sweet and salty dates, then you will love to join my free VIP community. I only send out 3 newsletters a month, and they're chock full of ways to align with the natural rhythms. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free VIP community by putting your email address in there. Also, if you love astrology and you love how I teach and you want to learn, either for your own purposes, like for your self-development or to help family and friends, or to become a professional astrologer, I can help you to do that with my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I put a lot into my free offerings, which I do, and I have for, you've seen me on here for almost 11 years, and I've been doing my work long before then you should see what I put into my paid offerings. So I don't have a ton of paid offerings. Most of my work in the world is free, but the ones that I do have are really solid, and this course is very comprehensive. So you can see that at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. You can also find some free courses at lumelife.com, Lume life.com. And if you want more content from me, besides all the free goodies I give you, which you can see all of them at anniehelpsyou.com, and all of these links and my Venus retrograde links are also in the notes underneath the video or podcast, then join my secret star portal. If you go to anniebastrology.com, Annie, the letter B, astrology.com, join my secret star portal. You'll get access to over a year of archives, plus new content monthly, my deep dive into Saturn and Pisces, my deep dive into Jupiter through Taurus for each sign, my series called How to Make Tough Astrological Transits Easier, deep dive into the sun's movements each month, and so much more. You can see that at anniebastrology.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.